I was lying in bed, calm and content. I was enjoying my deep slumber, dreaming about... I can't even remember what I was dreaming about. But it was very relaxing, I assure you. Halfway through the soundless night, I heard a loud crash, and I immediately got up. I was a light sleeper, but a heavy dreamer. It was so dark, I couldn't see an inch in front of me. I tuned in and listened for another sign of where it came from. It sounded like it was outside the door the last time I heard it, but I wasn't sure. I quietly got up and put my ear to the door. I heard a loud crash and my body froze in place. The crash was ear-twisting, but the thing that was different from the previous crash was this one. This one was behind me. My thoughts about poltergeists were that they were a call for attention. So when I heard this, I immediately thought it was a criminal trying to rob me of my values. What was there to rob? I was a poor fool, naive and weak and unable to defend myself to an intruder. If only the intruder knew he was just wasting his time. All thoughts aside, I gained the courage to look behind me. I quickly turned, and to my surprise, there was nothing there. I breathed deeply and took a peek around, and I opened the closet to make sure no one was hiding in there. After I was done ensuring myself I was alone, I calmly slid into bed and tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep well, because I always thought there was someone, something, watching me. The next few days were normal. Nothing frightening happened to me, and I almost totally forgot about the predicament. Until one day I was fetching some water, and I felt as if something was watching me. I got scared, because I knew it was watching me, and my instincts told me it was not human. I resisted the feeling, and started to turn, and I wanted to run at what I saw, but I couldn't. It was right there, staring at me, its crooked smile. It reminded me of Joker off Batman. Only his smile was more gruesome. Its smile was cut into his mouth, just made me want to vomit. Its demented eyes stared at me, unable to blink, pale skin from what looked like a terrible burn on its face. I couldn't move. I was at the grips of this thing. He tilted his head at me and walked slowly towards me. He lifted a knife. I knew I was a goner. I will soon be with my parents. I fell back to the counter and desperately reached for something to grab and defend myself. I was frantic and grabbed the first thing I could get my shaking hands on. I grabbed hold of something and swung it, hoping to deal some damage to the intruder. I heard a snap. The intruder flinched as he swung his knife, leaving enough room for me to evade. I started to run. I got to the door and tried to open it. My adrenaline was rushing through me, my mind racing a million thoughts, and I tried to get a grip. And as soon as I heard the door creak open, I rushed out. I got about 5 feet away, and a loud crack threw my thoughts, and everything went black. There was a voice outside while I was gaining consciousness, talking to itself. I was too out of it to understand what it was saying, but I knew I was dead. I opened my eyes and was welcomed by the demented face. It smiled at me and said, "You're just like me, you know." It paused and looked around. I could only focus on its face. "You are just like me." This thing wasn't human. "What do you mean? I'm nothing like you!" I shrieked with terror. All it did was spin the knife it had in its hand around its retching fingers. "What do you want from me?" It simply grinned, or it seemed to grin, as it turned to me slowly. "I only want you to go to sleep." It lifted its knife and struck straight down towards my heart. I bolted up, shaking my head furiously and screaming. I was sweating heavily and was dizzy. I fell off my bed and hit the ground with a thud. My head was aching, and I turned and frantically gazed upon the cold room. "Nothing is here," I said to myself calmly. "Just a dream." I got up and walked into my living room, being careful not to make noise. I glanced around, making sure nothing was there, and slowly walked into the kitchen. I just need a drink and continue with my life. Nothing can happen. It was just a nightmare. The bathroom door was open. I remember closing it after I brushed my teeth. I ditched the thought of the drink and immediately changed into my work clothes. A white t-shirt, black jeans, black boots, and a trench coat. I jogged anxiously to my car and got in, struggling with the keys a bit. I got in and drove away from that demented house. I made my way to my friend's house, 10 miles down the road. His name is Blake. He's always calm, and is someone to talk to when you have issues or concerns. The car bounces and sputters, and I realize the gas is empty. I'm just running on a few ounces. The car slowed to a stop, and I cursed furiously, and in an act of stupidity, I threw the door open and walked out of the car. It was still early in the morning, the mists of the morning greeting my cold face. I walked forward and couldn't see 3 inches in front of me. "Whoa, I'm not sure about this," I slurred to myself like a coward. "No," I thought to myself. "His house is only a few..." Snap. I heard it from behind me. I was twisted around, and I was greeted by that demented face. He charges at me aggressively and chucks the knife at me. I swift over to the right and dodged the rusty kitchen knife. I glanced back at him, right when I was cracked in the nose with his fists. I fling to the ground in agony as he lunges for the knife. He trips over my leg and I crawl over him to reach for it first. But I was cut short when he used his superhuman strength to elbow my stomach and practically burst my belly. I gasped for air as he kicked me off, and he grabbed for the knife and swung at me and tore my leg open. I take my last breath as he grabs my throat and pins me to the car.
"You're too fun,"
he snarls at me as he brings the knife close to my throat.
"but all fun must come to an end."
I kick for my life, but I know it's no use.
"Just go to sleep!"
were his last words to me as he slowly drove the knife through my throat, letting crimson blood flow out onto his knife. I gasped for air, but the metal blocks my pathways for hope. I fall to the ground after he slowly slid the knife from my neck. I fall to the ground, gasping for air slowly.
Everything goes black. Yes, he was a fun one to kill. Eluded me for a while, but I got him. I love reading diaries from victims. I feel so proud of myself. The funny thing is, he stopped writing after he got out of his car. I just wrote in those last few parts. Well, it looks like I should head off for now. Oh, I almost forgot. If you hear a loud crash while you sleep, well, never mind. You'll find out soon enough.